Friday night, Matt Carson was the hero in a one-run win. Last night, the Indians won another 2-1 game thanks to some shaky Astros defense. The result, 2 wins, and the Tribe now sitting in the second spot in the American League wild card. 8 games to go, and the Indians now control their own destiny. Scott Kazmir takes the hill next on Sports Time Ohio. From Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland, Indians baseball continues tonight. Game 3 of a 4-game series between the Tribe and the Houston Astros. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Mother Nature interrupted the Indians' 2-1 win over Houston last night, but they got just enough in to make it an official victory. And the Astros essentially beat themselves.
Well, they threw the ball all over the ballpark last night with 3 errors. Here's a play where you think they have a chance to at least get 1, if not 2, and he throws it into left field. It doesn't end there. They're going to throw it in from left field. It'll kick over, and runners will move up again. They did score a run there. They end up taking the lead, winning 2-1. And when you look at this wild card race, with Tampa already winning today, that meant Baltimore lost. The New York Yankees won today. So Texas and Kansas City will play tonight. That's where we stand right now. They are in a wild card spot. Texas a half game behind them, and if the Indians can win tonight, they will just keep right on moving.
It's a familiar refrain, but you'll hear us saying this all the way through the rest of the season. The Indians have to win, continue to win. They control their own destiny. They've got a Houston Astros team. They've beaten them twice already. Game 3 coming up here in just a moment. The Indians are going to try to stay red hot. They've won 7 of their last 9. Houston native Scott Kazmir will try to beat the Astros. The play-by-play is next. And we welcome you into Progressive Field. for the third installment of this 4-game series. Game 155 for the Indians this year. They've won 7 out of 9. They come in a season best 14 games over 500, 84-70 on the year. Here's the lineup for Bo Porter's Houston Astros that Scott Kazmir will face tonight. Jonathan Villar in the leadoff spot. Jose Altuve batting second. Matt Dominguez will hit third. Chris Carter will bat cleanup. Brandon Laird, who homered last night, hits fifth. J.D. Martinez sixth. Then L.J. Ho's seventh. Brandon Barnes eighth. Cody Clark will bat ninth. 9 right-handed bats in the lineup for Houston.
And they will be facing Scott Kazmir on the day. Right-handers hitting .283 off him with 16 home runs this year. Scotty, 8-9 on the season. Coming off a start, it's a loss at Kansas City where he went 5 innings. He has made 1 start, and that was earlier in the year. His first start of the year came against the Astros, where he only went 3 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 6 runs in that ball game.
Jonathan Villar will lead it off for Houston. Pitch inside, ball 1. 65 degrees, our game time temperature, and the wind blowing directly in from left and left center field tonight. Hit hard by third baseman Lonnie Chisenhall. And Villar is aboard to start the game for Houston.
Let's check out the Kia Indians defense behind Kazmir tonight. It looks like this. Brantley's in left, Bourne in center, Swisher in right. Chisenhall gets the start at third base. They have a right-hander going. Cabrera at short. Kipnis at second. Santana is at first with Gomes doing the catching.
Jordan Baker behind the plate tonight. C.B. Buckner at first. Crew chief Dale Scott at second. Todd Titchener down at third. Jose Altuve steps in now. Grounded to third. Chisenhall to second. There's one. Kipnis on to first, a double play. And Kipnis got taken out at second base. A little slow to get up, but he appears to be just fine. Villar went in there hard. And Kipnis hung in tough to turn 2.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better ball. It's right there. Nice hop for Chisenhall. Gets it over to Kipnis in plenty of time. And get up and over in plenty of time to turn it on Altuve. 129th double play turned by the Indians.
Matt Dominguez takes a strike. Two quick strikes. And the count 0-2. Ooh, just a bit outside with a fastball.
Take a look at it on our Nissan pitch tracker. Away. Pretty good pitch.
Swung on and missed. He strikes him out. Scott Kazmir takes care of Dominguez, and the inning is over. The Indians are coming to bat. First inning. Take a look at Terry Francona's starting lineup for the Tribe tonight, brought to you by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Michael Bourne will lead it off, then Nick Swisher, followed by Jason Kipnis. Carlos Santana cleanup, Michael Brantley fifth, as Dribble Cabrera bats sixth. Jason Giambi will start at DH and hit seventh, then Yan Gomes, and Lonnie Chisenhall bats ninth.
Paul Clemens, the rookie, is making the start. Just his fourth start on the year. In his third start, he went 7 innings, held the Angels to 2 runs on 6 hits. He's 25 years old, and oh, by the way, he was also traded for Michael Bourne. You know, Oberholzer was last night who started against him. He came from Atlanta, so is Paul Clemens. Let's look. So we won't look at the defense.
You think that's
yet.
ever happened before? You think a guy has ever led off back-to-back games against 2 guys that he was traded for?
I know. No, maybe not 2. You know what? In this game, probably it could have happened, but I don't know.
Back-to-back games, that is pretty weird. Clemens delivers a first pitch strike. And Michael Bourne lines one to left center field. That's in the gap. That'll get down and go to the wall. Bourne burns into second base with a leadoff double. That's his 20th double on the year.
Boy, it seems like so long ago that we faced a right-handed pitcher. We're used to seeing left-handers on the mound. Now, I'm sure the hitters are thinking the same way, and Bourne gets a little sinker down the middle of the plate, and he stays right on it, hits it in the gap into left center field. Will get his 20th double and a good start for the Indians.
That's going to bring up Nick Swisher. A 4-for-4 night in the series opener. Last night's game, of course, called after 6.5 innings. Ball one, it's inside. $20 homers, 25 doubles for Swisher this year. And a line drive to right field, a base hit. Bourne coming around third will stop there as HOU's got to it quickly. And the Indians have runners at first and third and nobody out.
Well, Nick Swisher supplying the fireworks after the game. He's trying to get it started at the first here off the end of the bat. But he bloops it in for a base hit, sends Bourne over to third base. So the Indians with first and third and nobody out. And I think Brad Mills just wanted to make sure with nobody out here that Bourne can score. So you've got Kipnis Santana coming up.
Well, the Indians with an opportunity to cash in early. Jason Kipnis will be the batter, 2 for 8 in the series. And it's up high, ball one.
Clemens on the year, if you remember, he started in long relief, and he pitched in that game in the 19-6 game back on April 20th, where he went 3 1/3 innings, allowed only 1 hit in that game. And then has worked his way up to set up role, and now it's his 4th start in the rotation.
2-0 the count. And as Kipnis looks to do some damage here in inning number 1. Jason has batted .289 on the year with runners in scoring position. Fouled right back. Clemens is, I guess if his dad were in the military, you'd call him a military brat, but his dad worked for the FBI. Still, he moved around the country, different spots. So
you call him a Fed brat?
I guess he's an FBI brat.
Traveling around.
Swung on and missed. 2-2 the count. His dad said young Paul outgrew playing catch with Dad when he was about 14 or 15 years old. He said he just threw too hard for me after that. I had to get out of the way before I got hurt. The 2-2 in the dirt. Good eye by Jason, and a full count. Michael Bourne, who doubled, is at third. Nick Swisher, an opening act single at first.
Well, I know that if Kipnis is swinging a bat like he normally does, he'd send Swisher in this situation. See if he starts him here. He does not.
Kipnis drives it pretty well left center. Martinez and Barnes converge. Barnes, the center fielder, makes the catch. He'll keep Kipnis from advancing, but Bourne comes home to score, and the Indians take a 1-0 lead. Jason Kipnis with RBI number 80. As Bourne will get the high fives in the dugout.
Yeah, you get the leadoff man, you get him over, and you get him in. So he did not start Swisher, and it's because Kipnis hasn't been swinging a hot bat. They wanted to make sure they get the run in. He does a nice job, hits a sacrifice fly.
And so Swisher at first base now for Carlos Santana.
That's his 10th sacrifice fly on the year, which is a good job when you get a man on third base in less than 2 outs.
I believe he's among the league leaders in that category.
That's what I'm just checking right here. Yeah, he is second behind Matt Wieters. Wieters has 11. Kipnis now with 10.
One-0 pitch. You saw Jason in the dugout there, and the one thing that Terry Francona has remarked, and we've seen it watching him as a young player, he's a perfectionist, and he's very hard on himself. You know, I think he wanted the base hit there.
Sure.
The sac fly, you get the run home, you get your job done. But I think he expects himself to get a hit every single time he goes up there.
No, you can't do that. You just have to get your job done, and that's good. 1-0 lead.
Santana slugs one high in the air to center field. Barnes back. He has room and makes the catch. And then Swisher hurries back to first base, 2 down.
Let's check the Stros defense tonight. It's Martinez in left, Barnes is in center, Hose is in right. Dominguez at third, Villar at short, Altuve at second, Carter is at first with Clark behind the plate.
And now Michael Brantley will bat with Swisher at first and 2 down here in the inning. Downstairs, ball 1. Michael is now hit in 5 straight games, going 7 for his last 18. Fouled right back. Paul Clemens, the 1-1, spins him out of the way. Despite the action and the traffic, he's made just 16 pitches, 8 balls, 8 strikes. Brantley drives one to deep right field. Hose back, looking up. It is gone to Souvenir City. Michael Brantley with a 2-out, 2-run home run, and the Indians lead it 3-0 here in the first. Home run number 9 on the season for Brantley. RBIs number 65 and 66.
Well, it doesn't surprise you that Brantley gets a 2-out base hit, even though there's nobody in scoring position. He was in scoring position at first base, and Swisher's going to score on Brantley's home run. You know, he just fouled one straight back earlier in the at-bat, but he didn't miss this one. He poked it. That's into the wind, folks. That's blowing in from right field and still hit it a pretty good ways. So the big inning here for the Indians in the first. 3 runs. Like it.
The Indians are off and running here tonight, and Asdrubal Cabrera comes to the plate now. Clemens delivers, and Cabrera bangs it through the hole on the right side. 4th hit in the opening frame for Cleveland, and the inning stays alive now for Jason Giambi. Keys to the game tonight brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital. Open up the O. The Indians have been stymied really in the first 2 games of this series by a couple of very good young Houston starters. And for Scott Kazmir, the hope is that he can get deeper into the game after 5 innings his last time out, 4 innings in his previous start. So already one thing accomplished. The offense has opened up. 3 runs on 4 hits here in the first inning. Brantley's 2-run homer getting them really going. Now here's Giambi, and he takes a strike. Ripped foul. Look out. Strike 3 call. The inning is over. But the Indians strike big here in the first inning. Michael Brantley punctuates the 3-run first with the blast. To you by McDonald's, now introducing 3 exciting new Quarter Pounders, and by Kia. All right, here's second inning. Chris Carter leading off for the Astros. Looks at ball one outside. Scott Kazmir armed with a 3-0 lead. Pop back out of play. Just missing. 2 balls and a strike. Carter leads the Astros in homers and runs batted in.
Yeah, 27 home runs. He has 17 of those home runs on the road this year.
Swung out and missed. It's 2-2.
And he's a guy, you can call him one of those all or nothing players because he will strike out a lot, over 200 times this year.
Popped out of play to the right. It's been 5 years since an Astro player hit more home runs than Carter has hit this year. Back in 2008, both Lance Berkman and Carlos Lee eclipsed Carter's total when Berkman hit 29, Lee hit 28. Checked his swing, and it goes foul.
You forget how good some of those Astros teams were. You know, when you get back into the early 2000s, they had some great players. The Killer Bees.
No, Bagwell, Biggio,
Berkman.
Almost chased after it, but he's able to hold up. The payoff pitch. Popped him up. This is back and over the screen, out of play. Now the 3-2 hit high in the air to center field. Bourne charging in. Michael is there. And that's out number 1. Our great clip of the game from last night. Michael Bourne laying out early as Dribble Cabrera going to the bare hand play. Big double play that helped preserve the Indians' 2-1 lead.
And Santana, a great throw right on the money. That's something that has to come out every day when you're playing is that solid defense.
You know, Rick, you were talking about the Astros, teams that, you know, of recent memory in the last decade that were so very good. And I started thinking, has there been a team that's gone through more, not just uniform changes, but sort of face of the franchise changes than Houston has as far as, you know, the Astros? What is the Astros and what is that logo? They've really gone through a lot of different changes over the years, from, you know, the old days, the early Colt 45s, right, to the sunburst uniforms of the late 70s, early 80s with Nolan Ryan and that group, and then they kind of morphed into something off of that. And then they had that run, turn of the century, where they changed it again when they went into the new ballpark. Laird a swing and a miss. Now they've kind of gone back almost to their roots with this new look.
And, well, they changed leagues. This is their first year in the American League now, coming from the National League after the new ownership bought them a couple of years ago. And they are really, when you call truly building from within and starting, and that's right from the minor leagues with all the young players, and their system or their plan supposedly is in place.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Kazmir.
Good changeup.
With his second strikeout, 2 down in the second inning. Well, with more on the Astros and the current woes, here's Katie Witham.
Well, Matt, Brad Mills told me today you can't give any club in the majors extra outs. And you look at the Houston Astros this year, and that's what they've done a lot in terms of their numbers. You've got to be able to take advantage of it, Millsy said, especially this Indians team and the way this offense has been built. There aren't a bunch of guys who are going to hit home runs every night, so you have to go out, play fundamental baseball, and do the little things.
78 unearned runs they've allowed this year. 78.
Well, if you just stop it right there, I mean that's a run a game, or half of your games. That's a run, extra run, that you're allowing in half of your games. And
watch it.
Whoa! Look out! There goes the bat into the dugout and rattling around. Hopefully, there wasn't anybody sitting back there. Everybody usually stands up on the top rail.
Well, that's sort of an embarrassing walk for Martinez, having to go over to the other dugout and get his bat. And I mean, it went in over the heads of the staff. And look at that, nobody. And I mean, nobody was sitting back there.
Look at Sandy.
Oh, is that Santos? He had to go
He's
south.
Still pretty limber for a big guy.
Not bad for a big man. That away, Sandy. They heard the incoming, and he had to get down.
All the scouting reports went flying, coffee spilled.
Well, you're never safe. Pretty soon they're going to be in boxes over there, covered. They have the netting up in front. They never used to have that.
No.
Up until a number of years ago. Before too long, they'll be covered too in their dugouts.
I still think of that great video, the old This Week in Baseball. It was in Anaheim, the old Anaheim. I think it was Anaheim, where you had a left-handed hitter, and everybody in the third base dugout.
Oh, yes.
They had gone all the way to the one end of the dugout, trying all huddled together. It was David Hulse. He kept following him into the dugout. Grounded to short. And the inning is over. 1-2-3. Kazmir sets him down in order. 3-0 Cleveland. The second inning, the Indians with a 3-0 lead. Jan Gomes, Lonnie Chisenhall, and Michael Bourne due up here for the Tribe. Slowly chopped towards third. Dominguez's throw is on the money. And Gomes, who made a big lunge at the end of his run towards first base, comes up a little shy, one down. Injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Jared Weaver out with a right forearm injury, and Andre Rienzo, the Brazilian-born Chicago pitcher, day-to-day with a blister.
Did he have something when we were in Chicago? Was that blister starting then? I'm trying to remember.
I don't think so.
It was somebody else that had something wrong with him in their hand, I think, in Chicago than him.
I do remember there was a pitcher. I was thinking it was somebody with Minnesota, and they were checking. It was the fingernail they were looking at.
That's right.
I can't remember who it was, though. Lonnie Chisenhall, high fly ball, right field near the line. Long run over for Hose. But that ball hung in the air so long, he was able to just gallop over and make the grab. 2 down. Now, Justin Masterson worked in the bullpen. The key was, how would he feel today when he came to work? Katie Witham, what's the latest?
He said he felt great today, Matt. The trainers like the way he's responding. The plan now is to have him throw a simulated game, but they want him to do it off the game mound. So realistically, it'll happen on Monday. But Francona said expect him to go into the pen because it's kind of unrealistic to expect him to go deep into a ball game after he's been out of the game so long. And they're looking at it as, hey, they're going to have one of the best arms in baseball available to them whenever they need out of the bullpen.
I think that's the prudent move. Here's the problem. It's not a problem. But Justin Masterson looks at it like, I've logged almost 200 innings this year. For me, it's just like I feel like I've had a nice break. I think he wants to get right back out on the mound and be a starter. But obviously Terry and the front office have to look at it and say, hey, we can't just rush this guy back out there and expect him to go 9 innings. Michael Bourne with a drive to deep right field off the wall, and he's plugging towards second base. He'll pull in with a 2-out double. So Bourne, 2 for 2 with 2 doubles already on the night. Michael's hit now in 9 of his last 11 games with his 2-hit performance already here this evening.
Ball out over the plate the first time, and then he tries to come inside with something, and Michael turned on it. Well, I'll tell you what, a little juice in his bat tonight with a pair of doubles. That's a 2-out double. Oh, an opportunity for Swisher to get him home.
I think for Terry Francona and company right now, the idea is use Justin Masterson out of the bullpen. And you don't know how this season's going to play out. You don't know where this team might go if they get into the postseason. So there's still a lot of different possibilities for Justin Masterson. Here's the thing, though. And Justin said it best. He goes, we're not guaranteed a shot at the playoffs. So I want to help any way I can to make sure we get this team into the playoffs.
Well, he hurt himself September 2nd. He's no stranger to the bullpen, although he has been a starter since he's been here. You know what? You got to see what he can do in game situation, but I think before you fire him out there and gets a start. So I like that decision if he can get some work in.
So now he's ace of the staff and team prankster? Did he get Jose Ramirez there?
Well, look at it's got to be. Look at he's having fun.
That's
he's back
beautiful.
to normal. He's back to normal. Look at Ubaldo sitting right there with him, enjoying it.
Swisher looks, it's low, 3-0. And Jose Ramirez, poor guy, has no idea.
And nor should he. He doesn't know. You know what? He'll figure it out a couple innings. One of these guys are going to talk to him and keep looking at his hat, and eventually he'll get it.
The 3-0 to Swish, taken all the way, ball 4. So a 2-out rally brewing here in the second inning. With Bourne at second, Swisher at first. And up comes Jason Kipnis. Out again is Doug Brocail. 2 innings, 2 trips to the mound.
Well, the video game that puts you in the owner's suite is now available free on iPhone and iPad. Build your stadium and make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. What's going on?
He finally figured it out. Either somebody tipped him off, maybe it was somebody from across the way.
He's going to go back and say, Tony Amato gave me a bad hat. Look at they're laughing at his expense, and you know what? And the kid's loving it. Why not?
That only means they love you, right?
That's right. Watch out for your shoelaces. They may be on fire next. We'll call 911.
2 on, 2 out. Jason Kipnis, who drove in a run with a sac fly in the first inning, takes the strike. Up and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Out of play. 1-2 the count. Clemens steps away and now re-engages the pitching rubber as he looks into his catcher, Cody Clark. And he was taking too long. Now Jason Kipnis steps out. Eventually they'll both get on the same page here. Now we're ready to go. Breaking ball, a little bit outside. Clemens might have thought he had strike 3. I don't know if he was just moving that way or if he was headed for the dugout.
Well, it's going to be a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. That's a pretty good pitch. As a pitcher, look at it. He thought he had a strike, no question.
I think he did too.
And Oberhoser thought he had one last night. If you remember, a couple of times they were walking off the mound, didn't get the call.
That's outside, a full count. Doug Brocail, he's already been out there twice to talk to the young right-hander. Indians trying to get on the board with 2 outs here in the inning. The runners go, and it's fouled right back. There were 2 down. Nobody on base after Gomes grounded out, Chisnall flied out. Michael Bourne doubled off the fence and right. Nick Swisher drew a walk. And now Jason Kipnis with a 3-2 count, and if he gets aboard, Carlos Santana would be next. Bourne and Swisher will be off. And the 3-2 is outside, ball 4. And the bases are loaded. Back-to-back walks here in the second. Though I have to admit, both of them have been hard-earned walks. Both hitters have had to make sure they stay disciplined. Carlos Santana flied to deep center his only time up. Upstairs, ball 1.
This crowd is waiting for some runs. They're anticipating.
Well, they got a pretty good guy at the plate. Santana this year 5 for 8 with the bases loaded with a couple of doubles. Off-speed pitch had him out in front, and the count 1-1. Hit the first, but foul. And so now Santana finds himself down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes. The defensive alignment in the outfield, both Martinez in left and Barnes in center, really shading Carlos Santana toward left field. The left fielder Martinez over more toward the line, and Barnes over in the left center.
Know, if I'm a center fielder, I wouldn't be playing Carlos over in left center field. He tries to hook everything into right center field. There's a lot of room out there.
Slices this one foul over the head of the third base runner, Michael Bourne. It just seems a little extreme, I guess, is
well for him. You know what? It all depends on their scouting reports are saying you pitch this way and he should hit it that way. But after watching Santana all year, he's trying to hit that bullpen over there in right center. Occasionally he'll stay on it and try and drive it the other way.
He did his first time up. But here he's got the bases loaded and 2 down. Breaking ball hit to first, and Carter takes it himself. Indians leave him loaded, but they lead it 3-0 after 2. Progressive Field, the Indians lead the Houston Astros by a score of 3-0. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, joined now by former Indians pitcher Dave Burba. In here as part of the Indians Alumni Ambassador Program. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
It's great to have you again. You just finished up another season coaching baseball in the Colorado Rockies organization.
Yep.
How's that going?
It's going well. We had a great year. A little rough in the first half, but played well in the second half, won the second half, and made it to the playoffs and took 2 on the chin and went home.
Is that right? Well, we were talking to Corey Snyder, who's in Double-A with the Seattle, and you're in A-ball now, right down in Modesto. That's the California League.
Yeah.
And, it's tough when you have kids coming up because do they stay with you throughout the whole year? Or do some kids move, or what happens?
Well, the first year I was in rookie ball, and that was the class that I got, or the draft. And the next year I went back to the same location, which was Tri-Cities, and, a new crop came in. And, of course, the guys that I had moved on to low A ball, and then this year I got them back in high A ball. So it was good to have back the guys I was familiar with. And
you had a little reputation with, and you worked with them, and
they
got to know them.
They knew what to expect from me, and, of course, I knew a lot about them because I had worked with them, and we had a good relationship, and they did I don't know if I should say it on the air, but they did a heck of a job. How's that?
That's really good.
That's a way to clean it up. Huh? Dave, What are some things that maybe you were grateful for in a pitching coach that you've tried to incorporate into your style as a coach now?
Well, the biggest thing that I learned early on was they taught me to trust and believe in my ability, and to somehow find a way to be a leader. And when I went to Double-A, it wasn't necessarily my pitching coach, it was more my manager. You know, he took me aside and I'll say he politely put it, you know, you got to be a leader, and you're not doing it. And, you know, I thought I was kind of green coming out of college and didn't know what to expect, but this was probably my third year in professional baseball. But he pretty much laid it on me, step up and be a man and take leadership and show these guys how to do it. Yeah, big time.
We all need that at some point.
Yeah.
Well, and when you say trust your ability, is that like a pitching coach, or like you would tell your players, trust your stuff?
Yes.
Go out there and believe what you have. I mean, don't be afraid. Don't shy away. Don't walk people. You get aggressive and let's see what you're made of.
Don't be a Dave Burba and try to make perfect pitches all the time.
Yeah, but everyone does it. I mean, pitchers give hitters too much credit, correct?
Yeah.
And hitters will give pitchers too much credit. You know, be patient. Get up there. If you see something you like, get after it and swing. That's the way I look at it as a hitter.
Yep. The biggest thing is the statistics speak for themselves. I mean, hitters are going to get a hit 3 times out of 10 if they're good.
If they're real good.
So why not take your chances?
Yeah, you got a pretty good opportunity, 7 out of 10 of winning.
Yes.
That's on the good side.
That's on the good side.
Yeah.
7.5 is usually what you're going to get.
But still, you have to go out there between the lines and mentally believe that. And if you're fortunate enough to be a starter, which I consider probably the best job in the world, if you're a successful starter, you get into your routine and nobody can mess with you. And you pitch a good game, and it's great. But when you're not, you have those 5 days you've got to think about what happened and what you have to do to adjust.
Yes, you got to sit there and, as Mike Jackson used to eloquently put it, marinate.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, that's the biggest thing you got to learn is, you know, that's over with. There's nothing you can do about it. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the positives. And take that and build on it and move forward, because that's over with. There's, you know, what are you going to do about it? Sit there and think about it for 4 days that, you know, now I can't go out and do that on my next start, and then you're going to do the same thing.
Fly ball, shallow left. Cabrera's there. He's got it. We're going to continue on with Dave Burba as Scott Kazmir sets him down 1-2-3 here in the third. 3-0 Cleveland. Lead it 3-0. As we go to the bottom of the third, it'll be Michael Brantley, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Jason Giambi coming up. We're visiting with Dave Burba, former Indians pitcher, now a pitching coach in the Colorado Rockies organization. Dave, for a CC Sabathia, using him as an example, a guy like that comes along, he's a top draft pick. The organization has a lot of eyes on him, a lot invested. They're going to do everything they can to make sure that guy can succeed and get through the system. There's a lot of other pitchers out there who aren't highly touted, aren't high draft picks. Do they need a coach in the minor leagues? Do they need guys behind them to tell the front office, to tell the the executives, hey, this guy might not be a top, he might not be on the radar screen, but this guy knows how to pitch. He gets it. Do those kind of players need help from their coaches to get them promoted?
Yeah, it helps, definitely. There's a couple kids on my team this year. I'll use that for an example. They weren't necessarily on the radar, and hey, you might want to pay attention to this kid. He's been throwing the ball well. He's keeping the ball down, changing speeds, and next thing you know, he's going to the All-Star game or Pitcher of the Week, and then he gets noticed. And matter of fact, there was a kid like that last year. Went to instructional league, and might not got invited if I didn't say something about it. Or yeah, you can't think first round, second round. I mean, I'm talking my perspective. Obviously those guys are talented, but you never know who can step up and do something. So you always want to keep your eyes open on the guys that are, like you said, aren't necessarily on the radar.
Are you
there
guys,
for a reason.
Are you guys like a scout? Do you have to write reports on everybody that you've had throughout the course of the year and rank them? Or is it just a sit down and talk?
I think every organization does it a little different. This year I took something, did it, on my own, just wrote notes every month. I wrote a note, or not a note, but a paragraph on how the kids have improved, if they've made adjustments, where they're moving forward, what they need to work on, and submitted that into the front office and let them see, how each kid is progressing each month.
That's good.
So, and we, obviously they have the pitching coordinator that comes in. We sit down and talk about it, and hey, what do you think of this kid? Where's he going?
Right.
Is he ready for Double-A? Can we move him up? What's your thoughts on that? And so there's a lot of talks about it, but I thought it'd be interesting to let them see like a monthly progression.
Document it. Yeah. Where in your own mind and what you see throughout the course of the month, which is very good. Because you can't tell what's inside of a player until you see him play and go between that line. It's like a scout. They may have talent, may have a great arm, but, when the game starts, it's a little different for people.
Yeah. Some guys, like they say, 5 o'clock BP.
Yeah, they can hit a ball a mile, and then they don't make adjustments when the game starts. It all depends, man. You get some hyper guys that can't relax, and the game speeds up on them. Other guys that they have a big heart and they know how to play the game, and they survive, and they don't have the talent.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because we talked to Steve Carsey about that. And you played with Steve.
Yeah.
And Cars was the most hyper guy there was in that bullpen, trying to keep Louis Isaac got his hands full, just trying to keep him calmed down before he went into a game. Now he's a pitching coach.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's Carson's a good man. I'm sure he does a good job at it.
He was here at in East Lake this year with the Indians.
Oh, that's cool. I did a fantasy camp there one year.
Yeah.
It was fun. A little different than
were you with Barker or those guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still enjoy the one in Arizona. It's fun.
That's always fun. Week long. We'll be there again in January.
Yeah.
I think Jason will be there too. Maybe you can give him his voice back then.
Maybe by that time.
Well,
my man Hess is
typical
looking
Dave
forward
Burba
to seeing
fashion.
you guys down
we get
there.
6 up, 6 down when you come into the booth. Great scene as always.
Sorry about that. Good to see you guys.
Dave Burba with us. Indians rolling 3-0. And we're back here at Progressive Field with the Indians leading it by a score of 3-0. Mark Shapiro joining us now.
Yeah. Less facial hair than Dave Burba.
Just a little. Hey, he's got that little, yeah.
Yeah. That's that wouldn't be a good look for me, I don't think. It's not very presidential.
Well, how are things going?
I know I can't pull that off. Things are good. Hey, listen, it's September 21st. I've got the upset stomach and the anxiety along with the excitement that comes along with it, and that's a lot better than the alternative. We got some energy and excitement in the ballpark, and a great night for us to pay tribute to the fans.
Is it the same upset stomach and nerves that you had as general manager?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Is it just different?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something, brother. That doesn't change. It's, I care just as much as I've ever cared, and I understand the importance of these opportunities and taking advantage of these moments in time when they come up. And, I am watching every game, living and dying every pitch. And, yeah, I've got an 11-year-old son now who it's been 5 years, and he barely remembers us knocking the Yankees out of the playoffs and going to the ALCS. So he is on top of me every single pitch as well. So it's that part's fun for me to see the game through his eyes and understand that excitement.
Well, there's been a lot of surprising things happen this year in good ways for a lot of different players and things like that, starting with Terry Francona.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Tito and Swish, when those two guys made the decision to come here, kind of making the statement to the rest of the baseball world that they believe in Cleveland, they believe in the Indians, they want to play here. That set a tone for our season. That made a statement to the other players on this team that have both been here and hadn't, that this is a place that guys can want to play. It's a place where special things can happen. And yeah, it takes things happening that you don't expect. It takes Scott Kazmir. It takes Corey Kluber turning the page and becoming the guy we thought he could be. Danny Salazar coming out of nowhere. Yan Gomes emerging into a very impressive everyday catcher.
The funny thing is, too, they talk about Francona. They say, why are you going there? And he wanted to come here. He truly did, because of the relationship that you and Chris had with him. And, I mean, he's making all his critics look like, hey, he can turn it around.
Yeah, listen, I think there are junctures in careers, and really in any career, whether it's on the field or off, that you have the chance to make decisions about where you want to be. And usually the best decisions are values-based decisions. They're things, the things I believe in. Swish made that decision because his roots here and his belief. Tito's roots go all the way back to his dad playing here. It's a place he wanted to be because of relationships, and he knew how important that was to building something and weathering the tough times. And, those were values-based decisions that are paying off for those guys and for us as well.
Matt Dominguez bats with 2 down and the base is empty. Mark, you and I both know that managers are important. They can have an impact. But there are only maybe a handful of managers who can really be difference makers. Obviously, Terry Francona is one of those guys. Why do you think he is that type of manager?
Well, the one thing I knew about Terry coming in is I knew he'd be positive. I knew he would have energy. I knew he would form good relationships with our players. What I underestimated and probably was unaware of was just how competitive the guy is and that he has a sense of urgency. And for a guy to have the balance of that urgency, along with that respect for the game and appreciation for the players, that's a very rare combination.
We're visiting with Indians team president Mark Shapiro. Scott Kazmir sets him down 1-2-3 again. We'll continue in a moment. Indians lead the Astros 3-0. All three for the Tribe coming in the first inning. And as we go to the bottom of the fourth, Yan Gomes, Lonnie Chisenhall, Michael Bourne due up for Cleveland. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning. Again, we're visiting with Indians team president Mark Shapiro. And as the Indians come down the stretch here, they're right in it. Obviously, they hold one of the wild card spots right now. And, you know, a lot can happen, obviously, as we go down here in the final 7-8 games of the season. But with regards to the future, what are you excited about with where this club is now? And obviously, you're not building this for a one-shot deal. You want to build something that you can sustain.
Well, I think this, you know, listen, I'm a huge believer that starting pitching sets the tone. Starting pitching gives you a chance. You know, when I visited with you guys and talked to you guys in spring training, in and out of the booth, I told you we're going to go as our starting pitching takes us this year. As the two veteran guys bounce back, which they've done, and as, you know, 2 or 3 young guys emerge, and, you know, Kluber obviously exceeded expectations. Danny Salazar bursting on the scene. I told Rick I still believe in Zach McAllister. The guy's a competitor. Look at that.
Right down the chalk for Yan Gomes. He's headed for extra bases.
And that's where I was going next. You know, the second thing that excites me is the middle of the diamond. You know, you look at Yan Gomes really emerging as a guy who's capable of being an above-average everyday catcher. And listen, no one's that smart. When we traded for the guy, we thought right-handed power bat, maybe he can be a backup catcher. We just hadn't seen the guy catch that much. But we said to ourselves, let's take a look at him as a catcher when we get the chance. Let's put him in there. He's more than rewarded that opportunity. He's been, from day one in spring training, one of the first conversations I had with Chris and Tito where Gomes looks pretty good catching. You know, he clearly had feel. He had good hands. He had good presence. He related to the pitchers well. All that does is give us the ability to say, you know, Carlos, you catch some, but just go hit and be a switch-hitting run producer. Jan, you're throwing everybody out, and you can drive in runs. Now up the middle, we've got Kipnis, Jan, Struble, and Michael Bourne. Those guys are here for multiple years. That's a good thing.
Lonnie Chisenhall drives one into right field. Gomes coming around third. They're going to wave him home. Hose can't make a throw. Lonnie Chisenhall with RBI number 36, and the Indians lead it 4-0.
Well, I can tell you're back. We're starting to score. Anytime you come on, there's usually a big inning, and it would go the other way.
If that is the case, I just want you to know I'm available 162. Man.
That's right.
If that is truly the case, if that is truly the case, I think that the best use of the Dolan money would be to put me up in the booth with you guys.
We're going with a 3-man booth.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let's take care of our business. It's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. Yes, I'm loving it too. Lonnie gets a base hit, drives him in, makes it a 4-0 ball game. Chisenhall is 36th run driven in.
Michael Bourne steps in, 2 for 2, 2 doubles on the night.
I got to talk about Ubaldo Jimenez, how he has turned it around.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the second half of this year, has looked like a different person.
He has. I mean, listen, the one thing that never went away with this guy is his work ethic. I mean,
Right.
you know that being around. You guys are around the club. You know that. Never missed a start. Never stopped getting after it. Never gave up. Never gave in. His bullpens were still tremendous work sessions. You know, maybe it's a new pitching coach, a breath of fresh air, a chance for him to sit down with Mickey Callaway, to form a new relationship, to have a fresh look at things. You know, I'm not sure what it is that clicks with a guy like that. Clearly, he feels like it's his fastball and pitching off his fastball, but Mickey's made an imprint on this team, whether it's Ubaldo or any of the young guys coming up. You know, you can't really say enough what a great job Mickey Callaway's done as well.
Agreed.
Michael Bourne flies to center. One down here in the fourth inning. Up comes Nick Swisher. And right now we'll take a look at our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile Index. Since the All-Star break, the Indians have the second best earned run average in the American League. So as you were talking about Mickey Callaway, he's had an impact.
Yeah,
you know, look at those top 3 teams. And I was getting, when you were talking about Salazar, we saw this kid Ventura in Kansas City. There's some great young pitching in the Central Division in our division.
Yeah, well, Kansas City certainly.
Or Detroit, and you know, you're coming up here with some young players. This could be a division where, watch out.
I hope not.
But I'll tell you, that kid Ventura, he's a young kid.
He's
too.
got
He
a good
was
arm.
23, and he
listen,
had a
those
great
guys, you know, Dayton Moore's done a good job building that team, and took a lot of losses to get some of those guys because a lot of those guys are top 5 draft picks, but they've got a lot of talent on the field. I don't feel good playing that team, Right now, they're playing like one of the best teams in the game. So I like it when they're playing against Texas and teams like that. That's a good thing for us.
That's a team you don't count out, even right now.
Right now,
they're playing Texas as we speak.
I told Chris that today as we started to look at three-way ties, and they're a team that I wouldn't count them out.
I wouldn't either. They have Seattle and where do they go? Chicago, I believe.
Yeah, they got Chicago.
2-0 pitch to Swisher. Takes, and it's 3-0. He walked his last time up.
Have you ever seen anybody with as much energy as this guy? That's the real deal.
No, I have. I've never seen someone that brings it every day. It sustains it, whether it's 35 degrees out here or 65, whether it's 5 in the morning in spring training or after a game. He's the same guy all the time. I think in baseball that a lot of that's leadership. The ability to bring that energy, that passion for the game, that joy of being at the ballpark, of being just out here playing the game, that regardless of what it may feel like for a fan, it can be tough. You know that, Rick. It's every single day. It's 162 and 183 after 40 in spring training.
Right.
And that why they call it a grind, because the schedule can be a tough grind. A guy that brings that kind of positive attitude and energy to the ballpark every day, that's a form of leadership. And in baseball, that's probably the most effective leadership. I've seen that in Sean Casey. I've seen that in Kirby Puckett. Certain guys just have that love of the game and that love for being there.
But when you played against him, when he was with the Yankees and I saw him with Oakland, I'm thinking, oh, come on.
That's not for real.
That's right. You think it's not the real until you realize it.
CC told me. When I was with C and talking to him one time when the Yankees were in here, Swish came walking through the clubhouse and was screaming and yelling. And CeCe looked at me and said, "That's the guy." We turned the corner because of that guy, because of the energy he brought. We were such an understated team of veteran guys and quiet guys and class guys, but we got great when that guy came here.
Yeah.
Now here's Jason Kipnis. Lifts one foul and out of play. Mark, the attendance issue here at Progressive Field has gotten a lot of attention here lately. A number of stories have been written. I know the issue is multifaceted and you can't sum it up in a 30-second soundbite, but
I'm just impressed you said multifaceted in that.
You ought to hear him talk. He's unbelievable.
That's really impressive.
He's good.
What did you drop on me the other night?
We'll talk
oscillating.
About it later. Oscillating.
He dropped oscillating on us the other night.
I looked it up for the season for Rick. That's all. You got to give him one.
I looked it up. It took me a week.
Popped up in the computer. Word of the day. Oscillating. I'm going to use that tonight.
Thank you. And I did get it in.
You did, and you did quite well. I know you've studied it. You looked at it. What are some positive things? What are you seeing as far as looking down the road in the future with what this team has accomplished? What ownership went out and did this past offseason.
Right.
This all has to add up going in a positive direction.
Well, listen,
somehow.
I mean, the one thing that's for certain is that people are paying attention, people are watching, and they're engaged. A lot of times an indicator are the ratings, and obviously they're up 37% for you guys. They're up over 100% in the month of August from last year. Radio ratings are almost up as high. So people are taking note, people are watching. It's an interesting market dynamic, but really the issues here are very similar throughout the game, just on different scales. So baseball and all sports have issues we have to address. The quality of watching it at home. We've got to make sure we stress the uniqueness of coming to the ballpark in combination with watching the game at home and understand what a special experience that can be. So, I will tell you this. Our fans have been unbelievable. Even Friday night, or I think it was Thursday night when the crowd was small here, it didn't feel that way. It was a passionate, energetic, into-the-game crowd. Our core fan base is as good as it gets, and we all know what this city can be. So I truly believe if we keep plugging away,
I agree.
We keep demonstrating, win most importantly, and then do 1,000 other little things right around the ballpark, that the fans are going to continue to come.
2 on, 2 out. Santana watches one bounce out in front of the plate.
Well, this team went a while where Terry had a tough time finding a guy he could plug into the number 4 hole. Swisher was there most of the time. He went with Cabrera. And then they finally reinserted Santana, and I think he's been a different guy since he's been put in that, in the last 5-6 weeks.
He gets overlooked. The quality of his at-bats is not afraid. I've heard you talk about it. He's not afraid to take a walk. He's selective. He's that selectively aggressive guy. I love those guys. They have the combination of both selective and aggressiveness. that is, you don't find that very often. It's something he's not afraid to take that swing and fall down swinging.
Right.
But at the same time, he's looking for his pitch to take that swing on.
I don't see many hitters that go down to the count 1-2, 0-2 as much as he does, and he brings it back to a full count, or he ends up getting a walk.
Yeah, he's got a unique approach to hit.
He really does. If he would just shorten it down and go to left center more, that's what I would love to see from this side of the plate.
Right, and that may happen as he matures in his career. I think a lot of those things are how aware a guy is in his swing, what he learns from year to year. Some guys keep the same approach. The guys that really play for 15 years are the guys that start to learn
make those adjustments
and do that.
He's
it's a never-ending game.
He's a hard-working kid, so you would expect him to make those adjustments.
I agree. He's in the cage almost as much as anybody else is early in the day.
Look at that.
High fly ball, right field.
Yeah, the swing looked good.
Yep,
you heard it got in a little bit. I can help you out with those. You just call me when you need me.
Well, you're going to be on 162.
162. Whenever we need a run, just give me a call.
Pal. Mark, good seeing you. Thanks for stopping by. Indians team president Mark Shapiro. The Indians lead it 4-0 after 4. To you by the wireless receiver only from AT&T Uverse. Rethink possible. And by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. All right, we roll now to the 5th inning. The Indians with a 3-0 lead. Chris Carter will lead it off. Carter flied to center his first time up. Scott Kazmir gave up a leadoff single to Jonathan Villar to start the game and has retired every batter since. And a little flare, broken bat, dumps it into right field. And Carter is aboard to start the 5th inning. That snaps a string of 11 in a row set down by Kazmir.
Well, they wanted away, but you see that ball comes a little bit back on top of the plate. Even though it got over there, you see the swing. He goes the other way. It cracked his bat. Goes as a base hit. Only the second hit for the Astros tonight.
Brandon Laird struck out his first time up. Now back in the 1st inning when Villar singled, the next man up, Altuve, banged into a double play.
Yeah, on the very next pitch.
2-0 pitch. Popped out of play to the right. Well, if you missed it earlier, Tampa Bay beat Baltimore.
How about the road that those guys had last night?
18 innings.
18 innings, just under 7 hours of baseball, finishing around 2 in the morning. And then they had to come back and play at 1 o'clock today. And Tampa won both of them.
Laird way out in front, 2-2. Well, this is where it looks as of right now. Indians with a half-game lead over Texas. Texas leads Kansas City early in their game 1-0.
That was a good ball game in Kansas City last night. It was 2-1 game.
Wow, close pitch.
He thought he had one. Get a look at it. Nissan pitch tracker just in off the plate. Those are pitches as pitchers. I think they're wincing a little more because they think the guy's going to swing at it. And if they don't swing at it, then you're going, oh, man, that was too close to take.
3-2 is popped up. Right field, Nick Swisher is in. He's under it. And that's out number 1. Time now for our AT&T U-verse Rewind. And as I mentioned, Scott Kazmir got that double play ball off the bat of Jose Altuve after Jonathan Villar singled to start the game. And then he just started mowing them down one after another.
Yeah, good changeup. And that's when he was locked in. He has the good changeup to go with that slider down in. And he always has a pretty good fastball that he can throw by you.
J.D. Martinez a swing and a miss.
That's the changeup. You get it about 80, 81 miles per hour, and he can throw that fastball at 94. And it seems like he's won one game in his last 7 starts. It's if you get him, you better get him in the first 3 innings because he settles in, and that's what has happened. They've been able to score on him earlier.
Count 0-2 on Martinez. .43 out of the 60 pitches for Kazmir so far tonight have been strikes. Right back up the middle. Hit Kazmir. Karam's towards first. And Santana beats him to the bag. 2 down. Terry Francona wants to come out and make sure that Kazmir's okay. Santana's got his arm around him. He appears to be just fine.
Yeah, Santana called him out, but what a deflection. Perfectly. Right over to Santana. They wanted to go in. They got it in. Oh, it went off his wrist, his glove wrist.
Yep.
The glove hand, his wrist. And it deflects perfectly over to Santana as he's able to beat him to the bag and step on it. So that's the good sign. You see it right above there. That'll be a little sore, but he'll be fine. Can ice it down later.
Yeah, he's telling him, I'm fine, it's good.
Yeah, anything else, make it the glove hand.
He's only given
up 2 hits. I don't know how many times Lonnie's been out there to see, if you remember Kazmir, they used to come out every start. There would be something wrong, his back or something. He's fine.
So Kazmir will go back to work with 2 down and a runner at second base. And L.J. Hose will be the batter. Strikeout victim his first time up. Downstairs. And that's outside, 2-0. Swung on and missed. Boston was the first team to clinch a division title in the American League, wrapping up the East, but Oakland is closing in fast on wrapping up the West now. Swing and a foul back.
In typical Oakland fashion, where they play very well in the second half and they turn it on late in the year, don't they?
They have simply stepped on the gas.
They had the lead earlier. They gave it back to Texas, and Texas really turned it into a lead, and then Oakland just shot past them.
A's shutting out Minnesota at home tonight, 6-0 in the fourth. 2-2 pitch. Ooh. Just a little bit low, full count.
Well, get a look at it. Just a little bit low.
Payoff pitch. And he lays off. Two on, two out. Brandon Barnes coming up. With regards to the Red Sox clinching Katie Witham, interesting that John Farrell, Terry Francona's old pitching coach, now at the helm there in Boston.
Well, and not just his pitching coach. Terry Francona said today that John Farrell's one of his closest friends, not just in baseball, but in life. And last night, he definitely reached out to him to congratulate him. He said he's still very fond of a lot of those guys like David Ortiz and Pedroia over there. And he said that he knew immediately when they hired him that they would be where they are.
Well, it's definitely been a good move for Boston, albeit it was a rather strange scenario the way it all played out.
Yeah, well, they had to trade for him.
Yeah,
to
technically they made a trade to get him. Yeah,
they sure did. And and I think Tito's just saying, knowing John the way he knows him, he'll fit into that clubhouse with those players very well, and he is absolutely right. John Farrell has done no wrong. And if you ask me, it's going to be between John Farrell and Tito for manager of the year when you look at it.
I'm right with you. I mean,
it's got to be between one of those two guys, I would think. The guy out in Oakland's done a nice job, too. But we'll see. We don't vote for that, but they got to be two of the favorites.
I would think so. The 0-2 pitch. Squibb towards first. Santana will take it himself, and the inning is over. Kazmir scoreless through 5, and the Indians lead it 4-0. If you enjoy a cold one, to stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We go now to the bottom half of the fifth inning. The Indians lead it 4-0. They scored 3 in the first. highlighted by a 2-run home run from Michael Brantley. They added a run on the 4th on an RBI single by Lonnie Chisenhall, scoring Yan Gomes, who had doubled. Here's Brantley to lead off the bottom of the 5th. And Paul Clemens delivers a strike over the outside corner.
You know, he has settled in. He's pitched his way around, a couple of walks in the 2nd inning after he gave up 3 runs on 4 hits in the 1st inning. Settled in the 2nd, and now the last couple innings he's been able to weave his way through it.
Well, when he loaded the bases in the 2nd inning, you kind of had the feeling he might not be long for this game, but he was able to get out of it. Just over 75 pitches on the night.
This is only his 4th major league start.
Brantley's home run, his 9th. That gives them 11 players with 9 homers, most in the majors this year, most in team history.
It's really been pretty balanced when you look at it throughout the whole year.
Brantley strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Clemens, 1 down here in the 5th. Our in-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Jason Kipnis with a sacrifice fly got the Indians on the board first in the 1st. Brantley then with a 2-out 2-run homer made it 3-0. Then after Yan Gomes doubled in the 4th, Lonnie Chisenhall brought him home to make it 4-0, and that is where we stand now in the bottom of the 5th. And we'll bring up Asdrubal Cabrera, 1-for-2 on the night. Clemens was originally a 7th-round pick of the Braves back in 08. And as Rick mentioned right at the outset, he was part of that trade when Houston traded Michael Bourne to Atlanta. It was Clemens and Brett Oberholzer, last night's starting pitcher, that were the key guys in that deal.
Well, Bourne wasn't able to get Oberholzer last night, but he got the back-to-back doubles today in the 1st and the 2nd inning off Clemens.
Big curveball. And it's 2-2, a little bit too high. It's hit pretty well to deep left field. Martinez back looking up. It is off the wall. And into second base, sliding in with a 1-out double. Asdrubal Cabrera, his 33rd double on the year.
Starting to see Cabrera go more the opposite way. More and more. And I'll tell you what, this ball was hit with authority. Look at that pitch. That's down and away. You see where the catcher's glove was? He was looking to go way down there and almost short hop it, and he takes that ball off the wall. That's a pretty good job of hitting right there by Asdrubal, his 33rd double. That's a 4th double tonight for the Indians. That's a really good pitch to hit right there.
Now Jason Giambi 0-for-2 on the night. He has struck out, grounded out. Tell you what, Cabrera just took off for third base and nobody saw him. Truly stole the bag.
Yeah, if you look at it, he started to take off. He had such a good jump. He almost slowed down. thinking the pitcher, there it was. And then he kept right on going when he realized Clemens wasn't going to do anything. And then the transfer by Clark, he just bobbled it. And a stolen base now with one out. They have to bring 3 guys on that right side in. And a chance for the Indians to add on, make it a 5-0 ball game.
Giambi takes it upstairs, 2-1.
And the good thing that Cabrera did there, Matt, is that he stole the base early in the at-bat where it gives the hitter a chance to concentrate on doing it, not when he's got 2 strikes and where he didn't really bounce back and forth and disrupt him as a hitter.
Fouled back out of play. It's 2-2. Lucas Harrell up again in the Astros bullpen. He will have pitched a complete game by the time he's done with his warm-up tosses. Former Indians pitcher Dennis Martinez, the Astros bullpen coach, there at his side. Saw Martinez on the field before the game, and it was fun reminiscing. He and Carlos Baerga and Omar Vizquel, all 3, talking about the good old days. Now the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and Giambi strikes out, 2 down. Tonight's trivia question brought to you by AT&T. Name the last Indians pitcher to win a game as a teenager. We'll have the answer coming up later in the game. Yan Gomes doubled and scored in the 4th. Yeah, and a fastball in there. There might have been an off-speed pitch. Looked like a slider, 1-1. Hit him. Gomes was kind of moving into the pitch, so he bore the brunt of that.
Yeah, he doesn't give much. He stays right there, and with that ball running in, that's the second time that I remember him getting hit on that back arm.
Now the problem is that's his throwing elbow, and you wonder, did it get him on the inside? That can be very painful.
He may start wearing some padding there. He doesn't give an inch when he's on the plate, and you watch him strike. See that ball coming in, and he doesn't give. And he was just going to lift the arms up, but it caught him by the time he could get it out of the way. Yeah, right on the elbow. That hurts. No meat there to protect. All bone.
Well, that's going to be it. Bo Porter, Houston manager, going to go to the bullpen for the first time tonight. The Indians have runners at first and third and 2 down. And the Tribe leads it 4-0. Paul Clemens' night comes to an end. Today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen, Lucas Harrell coming on when we come back.
tickets will go on sale to the public Monday, and you don't want to be left out of postseason action here at Progressive Field. So you log on to Indians.com/postseason, and you can get more information. So playoff tickets on sale to the public Monday.
Oh, look, you can already see the bruise forming on Jan Gomes. Looks like just below the forearm.
You see that tape, that black tape he's got on? There'll be a strip of that over there to keep that pressure pack down on before it swells up on him. Lucas Harrell coming on now for the Stros. 35th time he started, 22 games. 6-16 record.
Pitch down low, ball one to Lonnie Chisenhall. Two balls, no strikes. Chisenhall lines one to left. Martinez will make the grab. The inning is over. Tribe strands a pair here in the fifth through 5. They lead it 4-0. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, Kenny Guyton does it again in OSU's rout today of Florida A&M. Check out the latest on Tribe prospect Carlos Moncrief and get up-to-the-minute wild card developments. Complete coverage of all today's action involving Ohio sports on FoxSportsOhio.com. Well, while Kelly Shopik takes the warm-up throws, pitcher Scott Kazmir, Jan Gomes is getting worked on by the training staff in between innings. You know, he got drilled on that right elbow. That's his throwing elbow.
There's his padding that he's going to have on there. Wrap it up and keep a pressure pack on there so it doesn't swell up on him until he can get some ice on it after the ball game.
Put a sleeve on it. You know, all sorts of tricks up their sleeve, don't they? Gomes back out there. Cody Clark will lead off for Houston. Then Jonathan Villar and Jose Altuve.
70 pitches for the first 5 innings for Scott Kazmir. 21 last inning, but he was able to get through it.
Boy, he locked him up. Perfect pitch, inside corner. Just had to wait and make sure that Jordan Baker was going to call it a strike, and that's a half dozen Ks now. Our stat of the game brought to you by your Northern Ohio Buick dealers. Jan Gomes has thrown out just over 38% of the would-be base stealers this year, and among the American League receivers, that's numero uno.
Well, he has been fun to watch. Do it. If you give him an opportunity as a pitcher, I would think you're in pretty good shape. Not too often have we seen him rush to make throws. Gets rid of it quickly.
Well, and eventually you get to the point where the scouting reports get around and teams just will put the red light on, unless you're one of the elite base stealers.
Ivan Rodriguez used to do. I mean, he was around 50%. And he would just, they wouldn't run. They would quit running on him.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Giving up a lot of outs on the bases, and you certainly don't want to do that if you don't have a team that has a big offense.
One-two pitch.
VR here looks like he swings a bat much better from the right side of the plate than left-handed. He's a 300 hitter from the right side. But just 42 at bats.
Swung out and missed. Kazmir tied him up. 7 strikeouts. He's fanned back-to-back hitters now for the second time in the game. Now, speaking of Jan Gomes throwing out runners, got quick feet,
nice
and a
pick
quick
there
release.
By Cabrera. This guy thought it got away. No chance. And another one that's picked off. And he likes to throw. Guys that have good arms always do, though. They want to show it off. You've got an arm like his, you show it off, too.
I would always hear sort of backbiting criticism, never anything out front on the air publicly, about Pudge Rodriguez saying, yeah, he throws out a lot of base runners, but he calls a lot of fastballs. He won't work the off-speed pitches because he wants the fastballs to be able to throw runners out. Did you ever feel like that was warranted criticism?
Not really. Now, if you don't get a chance to see a guy play every day, I mean, people may say that. And you'd hear, oh, they call fastballs because they don't want anybody to steal a base on them. Why? I mean, seriously.
If everybody knows that, then you're going to start hitting those fastballs, exactly. If that's really true.
I mean, I don't know. I never noticed it, nor would I think so. Unless you watch a guy play every day, could you say that?
Altuve goes fishing, strikes out. Gomes throws to first to end the inning. And Scott Kazmir getting stronger as the game goes along. Strikes out the side here in the 6th. The Indians with a 4-0 lead. Go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and Michael Bourne leads off, takes a strike. Little tapper towards first. Bourne will be erased out, number 1. That'll bring up Nick Swisher. He's been on base all 3 times tonight. Singled and scored in the first. Walked in the second, walked in the fourth. 5 for 8 in the series. A little bit outside, 2-0. Back out of play.
I'll take a break from the Cleveland winter. Spend it out with the Indians in sunny Arizona. You can choose from 3 great packages. Call 1-855-298-5444.
Bounce to second base. Altuve will throw him out. 2 down here in the 6th. And that'll bring up Jason Kipnis. Kipnis' sac fly got the Indians on the board first tonight. The Indians looking to improve on their 62-24 record when they score first. Speaking of scoring first, Texas scored first and they've added to it. They lead Kansas City 3-0 at Kauffman Stadium.
Tell you one thing about Lucas Harrell, he doesn't mess around, does he? He gets the ball, stays on the rubber, let's go.
Off the plate, Harrell backpedals. He's got it. And he threw him, pulled him off the bag, though, with the throw. He had time to stop.
Yeah.
Maybe set himself. He tried to throw on the move, and
I agree with you. He had time, more time than he thought. He felt he had to move back and get rid of it quickly. He could have gathered himself for a step and still been able to get Kipnis. But he pulls Carter off the bag. It'll go as a base hit as he was backpedaling. But it was a nice play. Harrell got off the mound, athletically. He just threw the ball off balance. And you can see C.B. Buckner saying, no. He was off the base. Oh, it's an error. No base hit. It's an error.
Carlos Santana 0 for 3 on the night will be the batter. Third straight time that Santana has batted with 2 outs and a runner on base. Batted with the bases loaded in the second and first and second in the fourth. Pitcher gets the error there.
Yes, correct. Well, I thought it could have went any way, to be honest with you. He's backpedaling. Not an easy play. Should it have been made? I think so.
Santana again. He's been fooled a couple of times tonight.
Nice changeup right there. That bottom just dropped out of it.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Another throw over, and once again Jason back safely with a dive.
No, he just wants to make sure with 2 strikes here that, he doesn't steal the base. Trying to get himself in scoring position. He's going to keep an eye on him, and that's what you do with base stealers.
Santana again out on his front foot reaching for it. Going to be a close play. Nicely done by Altuve. Bare hand shovel flip to first ends the inning. 6 complete, 4-0 Cleveland. By Panini's with 18 locations in Northeast Ohio. And by Levin. And as you look in at Progressive Field on this Saturday evening, from our Panini Cam, brought to you by Panini's Bar and Grill. Scott Kazmir blanking the Astros through 6. He's given up 2 hits in the game.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and it's been 15 out of the last 16 of his pitches have been in the strike zone, and only 1 runner has reached second base.
Breaking ball back in for a strike. It's 0-2. Hit on the ground to short. And it's Dribble Cabrera. Throws him out. 1 down. Well, as promised earlier, it's Miller time. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Scott Kazmir has struck out 8 on the night. At least 1 in every inning but the 5th. And he struck out the side in the 6th inning.
Yeah, he's been dealing, man. He's right back. Look at that. He's hitting, moving it around. Fastball, changeup, slider, and has been very good tonight.
In the hole, a base hit in the left field off the bat of Chris Carter.
Well, and he has 2 of the 3 hits.
Just a fastball, and Carter went out, pulled it through the hole. So 1 on, 1 out for Brandon Laird. Chris Carter is the only Astro to reach second base tonight. And that came after a walk with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Downstairs, 2-0. Back out of play. 2 balls and a strike. Mentioned before, Brandon Laird is the younger brother of Gerald Laird. He was also originally drafted by the Indians out of high school. Back in 2005, the Indians made him a 27th round pick, but he decided to go to college instead. And wind up. And it's interesting. 2 years later, he was a 27th round pick again.
Wow.
You know, a lot of times when you go back, you improve your draft status.
Right.
He still ended up in the same round, but he was selected by the Yankees and then ultimately signed. That's out of play. Foul tipped off the bat into the glove. The strikeout will be number 9 for Kazmir. Brandon Laird saying no way. In fact, I think he's trying to say it hit his hand. They're saying it hit his hand. Jordan Baker saying it hit the bat. Tough to win that argument once the umpire makes his decision.
Now, is he saying he swung at the ball, right?
No, I think he's saying it just glanced off the bat.
It's a foul. Hit the bat. The
Yeah.
knob. He's saying it hit the knob of the bat. Then he took his hand off, and now they'll go get some help, and they'll ask the other umpires. You know, that might that's hard to tell.
You can see it hit the finger, but you know, from where he's standing, does it hit the finger? Does it hit the knob? How do you tell? I don't know.
You don't tell. I mean, as fast as that's moving, that's almost impossible. He's out. He's out. They can't. Not going to make the change. And if it did, it just nicked it, because that bottom hand may be off the end of that bat there. So maybe it did just deflect. Look, he's looking at his finger.
Well, you can see on the replay, it definitely moves his finger.
Oh, yeah, it sure did. It sure did.
It clipped his finger, might have caught the edge of the knob on the bat. I don't know. Two down. And J.D. Martinez 0 for 2 is the batter. Two balls and a strike. Martinez, a big swing and a miss, and the count evens at 2-2.
Whoa.
Swung on and missed. Look at the bat all the way down beyond the end of the dugout. The inning is over as Scott Kazmir has rung up 10 Houston Astros batters on the night. Time now for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Life is hard. Buying a car shouldn't be. Well, the Indians with a 4-0 lead. They jumped on the Astros in the first for 3. Added a run in the fourth. And Scott Kazmir has made it stand up with 7 zeros on the night. He has struck out 10 Houston batters. Lucas Harrell came on to get the final out of the 5th inning. Worked a scoreless 6th. Michael Brantley leading off the 7th. His 2-run homer in the first made it 3-0 Indians. Out of play, or I should say foul, third base side.
Well, you only have 1 day left. Bring the whole family out for the last Kids Fun Day of the year, sponsored by Cleveland Clinic. Go to Indians.com and get your tickets.
And a strike is called. 1-2 the count. Bounce toward short. VR makes the play. 1 down. We'll go back to the Hyundai Studios right now for an in-game update with Al Pulaski.
Man, Rick, we found the definition of a seeing eye single. Adrian Beltre provides it here for Texas against the Royals. Off of Guthrie, through a couple of players, scores a run. Rangers are up 3-0 now on Kansas City. Matt Garza, a one-hit shutout into the 4th inning. Matt?
All right, thanks, Al. The Indians a half game in front of Texas for a wild card spot, and Asdrubal Cabrera laces a single into right center field. His 3rd hit of the night.
Well, a good swing. He went off the left field wall, and now this time he gets out there and pulls this pitch into right center. Nice swing. Cabrera with 3 hits tonight. The Indians with 9 as a team. So, Asdrubal's had a good night.
The batting average hasn't reflected it, but Cabrera has swung the bat much better here in the month of September. I mean, he's hit 5 home runs and 14 runs batted in.
Need him to hit in this ballpark. This is where he's had his problems.
Yeah, he's below 200 at home this year. But a 3-hit night will help to
finish it up
get
strong.
that going.
Yeah. There's 3 games left after tonight in this ballpark.
Indians and Astros wrap up the series tomorrow with a 1 o'clock start. We'll have it for you here on Sports Time Ohio. Then the Indians will be off on Monday. And they welcome the White Sox in for a 2-game series to wrap up the homestand Tuesday and Wednesday. On the wild pitch, Cabrera alertly bolts down to second base.
Little breaking ball. That was, I mean, a real short hop that goes off the glove of Clark.
Lucas Harrell talking it over with Cody Clark. Now the 2-1 is downstairs. 3 balls in the strike. Giambi, a couple of strikeouts on the night, but looking to deliver here. Add to the Indians' lead. He'll take ball 4. And the Tribe has 2 on with 1 out for Yan Gomes. Tomorrow night, all bets are off with Bruce Drennan. Kicks off our prime time lineup at 7. He'll cover the Browns game against Minnesota. Talk about the Indians and their push for the playoffs. Then the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon at 9. Plus then Browns overtime at 10. It's all tomorrow night here on Sports Time Ohio. Jose Ramirez comes into the ball game now as a pinch runner for Giambi. Gomes doubled and scored in the 4th. Breaks his bat, lines it just over the head of Altuve. Cabrera got a late break. He'll have to stop at 3rd, and the bases are loaded. He got a late break because it looked like Altuve might just catch that ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you got to challenge anybody on the field to hit it over his head, he tested the right guy. Altuve, what's he, 5'5", 5'6"?
Yep.
And I mean, you can see it is just out of reach. It jammed him. Gomes hit it in the perfect spot, and you can see he gives every bit of effort to get up and catch that ball. He's just not tall enough. It'll go as a base hit for Gomes. That's number 10, and it will load the bases now with 1 out for the Indians to add on.
Yeah, it's almost as if Cabrera was smiling because he knew there's no way Altuve could get up high enough to catch that ball. He's 5'5", he gives it all he has, but you can't put in what Mother Nature left out. Lonnie Chisenhall 1 for 3 on the night. Wow, stepped on the plate. There's an out. Double play. Wow. Double play ends the inning. We'll go to the 8th. 4-0 Cleveland. by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Indians with a 4-0 lead as we go to the 8th inning. Stay tuned for Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. It's coming up immediately following the ball game here on Sports Time Ohio. Scott Kazmir will start the 8th inning. 96 pitches on the night. And activity in the Tribe bullpen, but Kazmir has been the very definition of free and easy here tonight. Only one runner has reached second base.
Yeah,
he's only had 4 base runners total.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had that walk. It would have been another game for him of at least 10 strikeouts and no walks. But this one is hit right into the gap and plugged the gap.
L.J. Hose into second base with a leadoff double. So Hose been on base twice. And that's going to be it. Terry Francona probably figured I'll let Kazmir go out there, and if he can get through the inning, fine. If he gets into any trouble, we're going to go to the bullpen. And he will go to the pen with a 4-0 lead. And Kazmir will get a nice ovation from a crowd of 26,611 here tonight.
Nice game.
And today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen will be for right-hander Cody Allen. The right-hander makes his entrance. He'll be on when we come back.
Playoff tickets will go on sale to the public. That'll be Monday. And you don't want to be left out of postseason action right here at Progressive Field. So just log on to Indians.com/postseason and you can get more information.
Cody Allen will be coming on now here in the 8th inning, making his 72nd appearance. 6-1 at 2.59 ERA. He's got Brandon Barnes, who is 0 for 2 on the night.
Yeah, they can smile in there now. What a nice night for Kazmir. 4 hits in his 7 innings.
Lifted foul down the right side. That's going to make its way into the seats, out of play. Upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just missed. Try to go at the knees. Outside corner. That's out of play. Line on a short hop to Kipnis, who checks the runner at second base and throws out Barnes. 1 down. Time now to get the answer to the AT&T trivia question. Last Indians pitcher to win a game as a teenager.
It's got to be before the 70s. I'm trying to think. I can't come up with anything right now. Sudden Sam.
Couple of wins at the
Born
age
on
of
this
19.
day. Happy birthday, Sam. Left-hander that people talk about how good his stuff was. They say it was as good as anybody in the games. He had 4 pitches. Unbelievable.
Carlos Corcoran will bat for Cody Clark. One on, one out here in the 8th inning. Fouled back. Corcoran awaiting the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes him out. Cody Allen registers the 11th strikeout of the game for the Indians, after Kazmir struck 10. Jonathan Villar involved in one of the most embarrassing plays of the year when he slid head first into the backside of Brandon Phillips.
Think about this. When's the last time you've seen a guy make a tag like that and just leave the glove? You know, he doesn't know it. He's going down. He's trying to slide up. He figures Phillips may turn around and tag him. That poor guy. He's going to look at that video for the rest of his life.
Brandon Phillips joked afterwards about having buns of steel.
But have you ever seen a guy tag like that?
No.
I mean, seriously, get the ball and then put it between his legs.
I thought, when I read about it and read Phillips' description before I saw the play, I thought it was so bang that was literally the only reaction he had. But when you watch it, he had time to turn around.
Sure he did. He never did. He just kept it right there.
Then again, I don't know that he expected that to happen either.
No. That was just a weird play all the way around.
Now the 1-1. And VR swing and a miss. Now the 1-2. Cody Allen strikes him out. A dozen Ks for the Indians pitching staff here tonight, and they maintain a 4-0 lead. The Indians lead this game by a score of 4-0. And here in the bottom of the 8th, you see Carlos Corcoran staying in the ball game behind the plate after he pinch hit for the catcher, Cody Clark. Michael Bourne leading off, takes a strike from Lucas Harrell. Harrell has worked 2 1/3 innings of scoreless relief. He got out of a jam in the 7th, though. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Lonnie Chisenhall hit one about 4 inches in front of the plate. And at that time, Cody Clark was the catcher. He'll never have an easier double play than that one in his life. Scott Kazmir did a tremendous job for the Indians tonight. Michael Bourne draws a walk. In-game box score brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Michael Bourne got it started tonight. A leadoff double in the first. Then a single by Nick Swisher. A sac fly by Kipnis. 2-out, 2-run homer by Brantley. Then Gomes led off the 4th with a double. He came home on Lonnie Chisenhall's RBI single. That's been it for the scoring tonight. Indians have had some chances to blow it open. Had left bases loaded in the 2nd, had them loaded in the 7th. Did not score in either of those instances. Swisher bangs one foul out of play. Swisher, the man of the hour here tonight.
Yes, he is.
Stepped forward and offered to pay for the fireworks. Hope to get some fans in here, and it worked. 26,611 came in here tonight.
And they've seen a pretty good ball game by the Indians. Up 4-0. Swish is 1 for 2. He walked and scored in the first. He singled and scored in the first, walked in the second and third, and then grounded out. He'd like to put a cap around and start the fireworks show early.
That's outside. Sid Corcoran was set up off the plate.
Wow.
2 balls and a strike with that fastball down and in.
Ran that heater down in on his back knee.
Two on pitch, swung out and missed. 2-2 the count. Harrell, since coming into the game, has thrown 20 balls, 20 strikes. Down on the dirt, full count. Joe Smith, Matt Albers getting loose for the Tribe. Swisher awaiting the 3-2 pitch. Bourne takes off. It's banged to first, and all Carter has to do is step on the bag, 1 away. Bourne in the scoring position. And up comes Jason Kipnis. Kipnis drove in a run with a sac fly in the first, walked in the second, struck out on the fourth, and reached on an error in the sixth. And he takes a strike. Oakland continues to lead Minnesota at home 8-1. Texas leads Kansas City 3-0. They're in the 6th at Kauffman Stadium. So if those scores hold up, Oakland could clinch the American League West with a win tomorrow. That's all they would need to do at that point. Now the 1-2 pitch. Got him looking. 2 down in the inning. And that will bring up Carlos Santana, who is 0 for 4 tonight and just 1 for 10 in the series. And that's the first strikeout for Lucas Harrell since he came into the ballgame with 2 outs back in the 5th inning. The Indians, if they hang on here, and if Texas hangs on in Kansas City, then the Indians will stay a half game in front of the Rangers. That half game will go away on Monday when the Indians are off, and the Rangers will be in action. Driven fouled on the left side. So that'll certainly be interesting watching for Indians fans Monday, because depending on what happens tomorrow, that could either increase the Indians' lead or.
Well, right. They get to enjoy their last day off of the year. Everybody else is pretty much playing their way through it. The Yankees will have off too.
Santana out of play on the right side. Yeah, the Yankees tattooed San Francisco earlier today. Giants really limping to the finish line. The defending world champions, well below 500. Bounce to first. Easy play for Carter. And the inning is over. We'll go to the ninth. Cleveland 4, Houston nothing. Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. It's coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. Now on to pitch for the Indians here in the ninth inning, Joe Smith. Smith on for the 67th time this year. 6 up, 2 down, a 2.26 ERA. And he's got the 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up for Houston. Defensively now, Nick Swisher goes from right field into first base, taking over for Carlos Santana. And Matt Carson is into the ball game now defensively in right field.
And Smitty trying to close it out, or
finish
three
it
in a
off.
row. Finish it off. Yeah, not close it off, but finish it off. The Indians have played awfully well this year against the Western Division. They're looking to go 24-8 against the West.
Jose Altuve fouls one off of his front foot. Ground ball to short as Dribble Cabrera throws him out, 1 away. Revisiting our keys to the game from Akron Children's Hospital. Well, the Indians' offense jumped out to the early lead. They haven't been able to really get anything going since then. They did add a run in the fourth, but they jumped on them early, and Scott Kazmir made it stand up, and he did get deeper into the ballgame after his previous 2 outings. He went just 5 innings and 4 innings the time before that. Tonight, very good. Another bouncer to short. Asdrubal Cabrera again sets and throws. 2 down. Well, this Saturday night crowd revved up now. Over 26,000 here tonight. And the Indians did not disappoint. Very efficient, business-like quality about them tonight. They came out early, jumped on the Astros. Scott Kazmir effectively dismantled their lineup tonight. And Carter sends one pretty well. Deep center field. Bourne back. He's running out of room, and it is gone. There'll be no shutout tonight as Chris Carter launches his 28th home run of the year and gives him RBI number 78 on the season. And the big guy has his 3rd hit of the night as well.
Wow. Utah and his 18th road home run. That's 28 on the year, and it's a strong man, and you can see that ball straight up out over the plate. Gave him a little swinging room, and this one goes all the way into that Indians bullpen. So it's a 4-1 game.
So now 4-1 Indians lead with 2 down. Brandon Laird 0 for 3 tonight. No, I beg your pardon. Mark Krause is pinch hitting here. Krause chased one in the dirt. Mark Krause, Ohio born and bred, played at Ohio University. Big guy with power. Swing and a miss, a ball and 2 strikes. Did he go? He did not. Smith ready, 2-2 pitch. Whoa, just a little bit outside, and the count is now full at 3-2. Payoff pitch. Upstairs, it got away from him, ball 4. And that will bring up J.D. Martinez. Now we'll get another pinch hitter. And it's going to be Trevor Crowe who will hit for J.D. Martinez. Crowe, you see a .230 average on the year. As a pinch hitter, he's 0 for 4. Chris Perez, just in case, getting up in the Indians bullpen. The 0-1 pitch. Missed with it, 1 ball, 1 strike. Texas continues to lead Kansas City 3-0. They're in the 6th at Kauffman Stadium. Tampa Bay already won, beating Baltimore earlier. Fouled back out of play. The Indians started the night with a half-game lead over the Rangers in the wild card race. A ball and 2 strikes with the runner at first and 2 down in the 9th. Ground ball to first. Swisher takes it. And the Indians go to a season high, 15 games over 500. They're now 85-70 on the year. They've won 8 out of 10. And they maintain their stranglehold on one of the 2 American